Hello and welcome to the Tim and Shipe Show. This episode of our podcast is brought to you by My Auto Care. My Auto Care is revolutionary in the auto care industry. They come to you. That's right. If you're stuck at home on a snowy day, or if you're just at work and don't want to leave and go get an oil change, or if your brakes are bad, whatever it is, check out My Auto Care for your next auto care service repair. They will come to you. They'll drive to you. They have these great vans, trucks, whatever it is that you need. They will come to you and fix up your car and make it look great. Check out myautocare.com. Look them up and schedule your next appointment as soon as you can. You don't want to wait. They have the best customer service that you could possibly imagine. Check them out, myautocare.com, and schedule your next appointment today. We're also brought to you by Affinity Apartment Communities. Affinity Apartment Communities, they make living so comfortable, and they make it so easy to get set up in your next comfortable home. Check out affinityapartmentcommunities.com. Get the application started as soon as possible, or give them a call and ask for Sarah and see about getting in to your next Affinity Apartment Community apartment, or they even have homes, even 3-bedroom homes with garages, places out in the woods, and also they are a part of the Agape Ridge Cabins, and you can schedule your next getaway, your next vacation at the agaperidgecabins.com and get there quick because they are going fast. Go to agaperidgecabins.com to schedule your next getaway, weekend, or a week-long vacation in the beautiful Hocking Hills, Ohio. Check them out, agaperidgecabins.com and affinityapartmentcommunities.com. Let's go.
Could be up to the offensive line. No, Prince's going to throw for it. Got to get it off. They go for the ball game. Touchdown! Touchdown! Michael Jacobs! Holy Buckeye! Tebow straight ahead into the end zone, and the Gators have put this one on ice.
Hello, and welcome to the Tim and Shipe Show. This is a college football podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We're a part of the Press Play Podcast Network, and we're going to be talking college football for the next, hopefully not too long, because I don't really care about college football anymore. I'm dead inside. But let's go ahead and discuss all that we can discuss. Tim, looks like your Gators beat Virginia, but not by what they should have. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, one, Virginia's defense came to play. They played pretty decent. Two, they scored a touchdown in garbage time to make it a one-possession game, basically.
Yeah.
It wasn't really that close of a game. Like, Florida did what they needed to do. They actually rushed really well in this game. Trask didn't have his best game this night, but P. Ryan had his best game as a senior going out in his bowl game. You could tell he was very motivated. Early in the game, he had like a 70-yard rush touchdown. So he ended up with 138 yards. So it was really just, one of those. It ended up being pretty much what you had kind of predicted, where it's like it's a lose-lose situation where if Florida wins, like, yeah, you should have. If they lose, like, how can you lose to them?
Right. Nothing.
Virginia had a top 10 defense this season, which it didn't look like against Clemson. They actually, statistically, they had a top 10 defense.
Yeah.
But no excuses. Like, Florida did okay. It wasn't the best game of the year. It wasn't the worst game of the year. They were just okay.
But they won.
And they won.
They won out, and they won. It was really
They did.
good,
And it helped
you guys.
help with recruiting like I had thought that it would. I do think it has. They're close to getting a potential wide receiver. He is considering Florida and Clemson at this point, and their predictions are now he's going to go Florida over Clemson, which is huge.
Yeah.
And he's a borderline 5-star wide receiver, so it's huge.
That is
so
good.
it really has helped with the recruiting. And other than that, whatever, we get some money or something for winning, so it's worth it. And the most exciting thing about it is, I think it was that day or shortly before, they actually revealed the new football training facility that's being built. It's gonna be ready in 2 years. Well, now it's gonna be ready in 23 months. So I'm super excited for it. It's gonna be incredible. We talk about like recruiting tools.
Yeah.
It's a standalone football training facility, weight room, practice field kind of situation.
Now you can catch up with the rest of the big boys.
No, it's nicer than just about anybody else has. I think Clemson is the only school I've seen that actually has what they're building.
Yeah, LSU, they redid their whole locker room. Ohio State continually is upgrading.
But it's not about the locker room; it's everything. Like it's a standalone training facility that only a handful of schools even have right now.
Yeah,
so it's huge.
That's good. Good for them.
Yep.
So Trask, quarterback of the future. He's a sophomore going in next year.
He's going to be a junior, redshirt junior, I believe, this coming year. He ended the season the only quarterback in the SEC. I almost said Big 12. That's hilarious. The only quarterback in the SEC who had better statistics than him this year won the Heisman. So Burrow was the only one who had more yards than anyone else in the conference. I think Tua's the only one who had more touchdowns. Now, obviously, Tua, granted, he spent a lot of time on the bench in the fourth quarter this year in their garbage schedule. So, but overall, Trask, he didn't play in the first 2.5 games, and he ended up second in the conference in yards, third in touchdowns. Overall, a really solid season, underrated player, I think, overall this year.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
He'll come in as a starter next year. Felipe Franks has announced he actually was there for the game, which is pretty huge for him to be there and supporting his team. But he already announced that he's going to transfer. So it's going to be Emory Jones is still going to be competing, trying to earn that starting spot. But as of right now, it's Trask's position to lose.
Yeah, I'd say Trask is pretty much a lock. Can't imagine Emory. Emory Jones. Yeah. I don't think he's going to be that good. What I've seen him play, I mean, he's quick, but I don't think he's going to be that good. But at least he wasn't good when I saw him this year. I'll put it that way. So talk to me about next year. Who you losing? Big losses, top 3 big losses of players going into next year. Are you losing anybody?
Well, we definitely are. We're losing 4 senior wide receivers, which always hurts. They were all good. Van Jefferson, the transfer from Ole Miss, has been there for 2 years now. Solid player. He'll be in the NFL next year. The issue that they're seeing is there's so many really good wide receivers going into the NFL this year out of college football that they're not considered even like top 10, any of them.
Wow.
But they're, I think at least 2 of them, maybe 3 will be in the NFL.
Okay.
Michael P. Ryan, he was not my favorite running back on this team because he's not as much of a runner, but as far as dual threat, he's one of the best in the country for running backs.
Yeah.
So he'll be in the NFL. I'm predicting 3rd to 4th round pick, and he fits really well with where the NFL is right now, where he'll run, but more his real talent is catching the ball on the play action, running the ball and a little bit, but more so catching the ball.
Yeah.
So that'll be big for them. And then defensively, we're losing some pretty big players this year. Unfortunately, Zuniga couldn't be healthy. He was hurt. He only played, I think, not even a handful of games, like 3 to 4 games this year. High ankle sprain really derailed his season. So he's projected to be a 3rd round pick right now. And the combine can improve that for sure, but the injuries hurt him a lot. But he was projected to be a preseason All-American, and that didn't happen this year. So that's a big loss. And then the other player that really hurts is Jonathan Grenard. He's a transfer. He was the grad transfer out of Louisville. He ended up playing. He missed a couple of seasons also because of a high ankle sprain. But overall, his draft status has really gone up a ton this year. I think he led the conference in sacks, if I'm not mistaken. And that's with missing multiple games. So again, both these players got hurt. Zuniga was already hurt. He came back and tried to play against LSU and re-injured his ankle. And Grenard got hurt. He actually was leading the college football in sacks when he got hurt against LSU and had to leave the game. So that I'm not making excuses, but looking back early in the season, if they're both healthy in that game, I think we have a different result potentially in that game.
Yeah.
So both of those players lose, and Grenard actually was offered a 6th-year eligibility because of the injuries he's had in his career, and he turned it down. So he's going pro, and I don't blame him. He's had a lot of injuries. Why risk it?
Yeah.
So he's going to try to go to the NFL and see what he can do. So defensively, that hurts. Our best cornerback he didn't even play in the bowl game. He already declared for the draft. So, but I'm excited for the players we have coming up. We have a true freshman, Elam, who played in this bowl game and just was lights out. He hit interception against Virginia. I don't think they completed a single pass on him the entire game. They kept trying to, but they weren't able to. I'm so excited for him the next couple of years. And as far as cornerbacks go, we have a lot of players coming in. Very good results. So it hurts more so on the defensive side and the wide receivers overall. That's where our biggest losses are. But moving forward, we have a lot of players coming in who I'm excited about. Top 5 recruiting class this year. A couple players are still trying to get before the end of the signing period, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and you always have the portal that's going to open up.
Of course.
There's going to be players during this offseason for the portal.
Yep.
Okay, so Anything else you want to add about the Gators, their game, what you want to see, what you're excited about on the off season, anything like that?
No, I mean, really, it comes down to we had a 3-loss team last year, a 2-loss team this year, and really we're heading in a great direction. Mullen is a great coach. He's doing really well. There's some rumors tying him to the Cowboys. I don't see it happening. So I think he's staying. I think he's keeping the majority of his staff together this offseason, hopefully. And we just have a lot to look forward to at this point. Like if we can continue to grow and build depth, and more importantly, take these players and really build them into stars. And that's what we've been missing over the past several years. Recruiting hasn't been an issue, but it's developing those players has been a problem. Yeah. And I see Mullen being the guy who can actually do that, especially in the quarterback position. So I'm excited for the future.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So do we go to the Fiesta Bowl next? This is something that I'm ready to talk about so I can be done thinking about. Okay?
All
right. So first impressions, Tim, what would you like to say about the game?
So every football game I've ever seen, you have two sides of it. You have the we did enough to win, and you have the refs made us lose.
Okay.
Fair or not, I feel like that's what you see. Not everyone. I'm not saying 100% across the board, but you see a decent amount of the team that loses say the refs did this and it screwed us.
Okay.
In this game, there was one specific play that I didn't understand, and that was the fumble that Ohio State scored a touchdown on. I don't understand the call on that, where they said he didn't have possession and it wasn't a fumble.
Clearly did.
They reviewed it. Yeah. I don't understand that call. The rest of them, the targeting call, 100% truthfully, I believe that was a good call.
Okay.
Because regardless of what the quarterback did, yes, he lowered his head, but everyone's taught how to tackle someone. You have to wrap them up. You can't hit him with your helmet, the crown of your helmet. The defender lowered his head, hit him at the helmet first. That's going to be called almost every time. Like that's one of those mistakes you can't make. I understand in the moment it's a lot easier said than done, but that's not.
Yeah, it's unavoidable. It was unavoidable.
Yeah. But that's a call. You can't be upset about that because that's called almost every single time.
I can be upset. Here's why. For targeting to happen, 4 things have to happen for it to be called. It's not 1 of 4. It's not 2 of 4. All 4 things have to happen. Okay? Did you know that?
Yes.
That it can't just be one thing, that where you get targeting and you get tossed from the game. And the funny thing is about this targeting thing is that they are changing the rule in 2020. It's going to take 2 targeting for you to be kicked. 15-yard penalty. The second one, you're kicked. Did you know that was coming?
I didn't know it was coming, but I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. So here's what the player has to do. All 4 of these things have to happen for the player to be kicked and for it to be a targeting penalty. Launch, a player leaving his feet. Okay? A crouch followed by an upward and forward thrust to attack with forcible contact to the head or neck area. 3, leading with the helmet, shoulder, forearm, fist, hand, or elbow to attack with forcible contact, neck or head. Lowering the head before attacking by initiating forcible contact. Now I'll give you 2, but I won't give you the other 2 because he absolutely did not lunge and he absolutely did not have an upward or forward thrust.
So why do you think they reviewed the play and called it a targeting then? If you're saying it was not.
Oh, I think it was a bad call. They reviewed it and there's bad. We saw in the fumble. They're not good at their jobs. That's the bottom line. They reviewed it and they saw the one thing he did. He had his head and he had his head forward and he led with his head. And he hit a 6'6" quarterback in the head somehow. A 5'10" DB hit a 6'6" quarterback in the head. So
that doesn't mean anything, though. That just means he was.
I know. It was Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence. It was unavoidable. It was Trevor Lawrence flinched. He didn't try to create that contact. He flinched last second, and he was hit in the head. Sean Wade did everything right except put his head first, and he was kicked out of the biggest game of his life so far because of it. It's baloney.
I disagree. I really do.
It completely. How do you disagree? Tell me, did he launch?
I can't tell you from the replay. That's the thing is like I
Did he
can't
launch?
tell.
No, he didn't. I can tell you. I've watched it 10 times.
How do you know? Like how do you know from the video though?
What else do I have to go by? What do you
Can you see him jump? Like can you see his feet? Can you see
when you watched it in fast motion? Did you think, whoa, that looks like a good hit? Or did you think that's targeting, he's going to be gone?
I was really looking at the other guy who was going in. Honestly, the first time I saw it, I was watching the other guy coming in.
Okay. Well, when you watch it full speed, it doesn't look like targeting at all. It looks like a great hit, and the quarterback went down. It's 4th and 15, and Ohio State gets the ball with 4 minutes left in the half. Instead, we get 2 penalties, and they score a touchdown. Okay? I mean, that's what happened. And so it wasn't a launch. He lowered his head, and he hit with his head first. You can disagree all you want, but you're wrong because he didn't do all 4 of those things. I maybe give you 1.5, not 4.
Okay, look at this way. How many times in college football do we see that exact play get called for an ejection?
I don't know. It hasn't happened for Ohio State. Not like that. Consistently called. No. Actually, last week. Well, not last week, but when we played Michigan, a call just like that was overturned. It was called targeting on the field. They watched it and said it wasn't. Just like that.
In which game?
That's Michigan, Ohio State. Happens all the time where they look at it and they're like, you know what? This doesn't qualify the guy to get kicked out of the most important game of the season and completely change the momentum of the game. And then, I mean, it was just it's so stupid. It completely changed the game. It goes 14-16 into halftime when it should have been 28-0.
20-0 has more to do with Ohio State than does the referees, though.
Right, you're absolutely right. Right. We got here. Let me read everything that had to happen for Clemson to win this game. Oh, let me ask you this question, Tim: Is Clemson the better team?
I told you they're a coin flip. I've said every single game this year they're a coin flip all season long.
Clemson's not the better team. And did you see the coin flip, by the way?
Yes, I did see the coin flip.
Does anything throw you off there? Of like, what the heck?
No.
Have you ever seen a referee catch a coin flip before?
He didn't catch a coin flip, or did I not see it? 100%.
He caught it.
Then I must not have seen it. So what are you saying?
That's what he did. I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
I am saying
I guess I don't remember seeing that then. I don't remember seeing that.
Okay, the referee flipped it in his hand. Our listeners aren't going to be able to see it, but I'll try to paint a picture. The referee flipped it in his hand. He caught it, and it looked like he was going to flip it and put it on top of his hand like this. You know where you do that? But he didn't. He stopped and said heads. Huh.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay, first of all, that means nothing.
First of all, it's illegal to catch it. I don't know if I'm really loud in your speakers at home right now, but it is not allowed for a referee to catch.
According to who?
According to the NCAA. It has to hit the ground.
Where is that rule?
That's in the rules. That's in the rules. I looked it up. It's in the rules. Let me try to – I'm not going to take the time to find it because it's there. If you want to look it up on your own time, you can. But a referee is not allowed to catch the flip. It's supposed to hit the ground and bounce.
Okay. I really don't remember that happening. I must be missing a lot. I watched a lot of games, so I must be –
No, I'm done with college football. Okay.
Second of all, I did warn you. You got an SEC crew, and I've been complaining about the SEC officiating all season long.
I know.
But, however, that does not mean you need to give up this whole bias against Ohio State. There was just not a conspiracy against Ohio State.
I'm not saying it was a conspiracy against
Ohio State. That's the way you're suggesting.
I'm saying the coin flip, there's something to the coin flip. There's something there. It looked super fishy. I've never seen anything like it before.
The guy was probably nervous that happened. He's an idiot. I have no question about that. But that doesn't mean he's against Ohio State. He's not.
No, it's not.
And the NCAA is not telling him, make sure you field this game.
I would almost think that there's something behind Vegas on this more than there's something up to where nothing went Ohio State's way. Everything went Clemson's way. Name one call where you think, boy, that sucked for Clemson. There
were a couple.
Call.
I can give you one specific that comes to mind immediately. Was a defensive holding / pass interference where the defender was clearly holding him before the ball got there and still holding him as the ball came, and they didn't call anything against Ohio State.
I'm saying something that was actually blown.
That was blown.
Where the whistle was blown.
Well,
to stop the game. To kill.
I'm talking about a specific play where that was a third down play. It should have given
that happens every
first
play.
Down.
There's holding on every play.
No, blatant, no question about it. Everybody knew. Everybody who saw it, it was clear. It should have been a first down, and it wasn't. There were plays against both teams that should have been called that weren't. No question.
Sure, but there's a lot more calls against Ohio State that killed momentum and completely wrecked the game. So let me read through everything that happened for Clemson against Ohio State. And then I also want to go through some of the stats of the game, and you tell me that Clemson is a coin flip. Ready? Okay. J.K. Dobbins was caught from behind on a 64-yard run. Never happens. It was a fluke. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable play by Clemson. All credit goes to that guy who chased him down, but that had to happen. Targeting called on Wade. We've already discussed that in length. Tuff Borland dropped a guaranteed pick 6. Fuller, touchdown, overturned the fumble. We've talked about that one already. Roughing the punter. The ball hit the Clemson returner on Ohio State's final punt. You remember that? And he just was able to fall on it. Hit. You remember that?
Yeah.
Dobbins had 2 touchdown drops, 2 guaranteed touchdowns that he dropped, and the Olave miscommunication. I also am going to bring up, do you remember the Garrett Wilson play that was an amazing catch on the sidelines? And then Ohio State had started their next play, but then they whistled it dead and reviewed it, and it ended up being a catch. It was an amazing play, first or second drive of the game. Remember?
It happens all the time.
On the sideline. I know. And that's fine. It's fine. I'm not saying there's anything there. But
gotcha. Okay.
Ryan Day was hot about that because, again, Dobbins was walking into the end zone. He had one guy to beat, and he beats him every time. So if that wasn't called dead, Justin Fields.
But again, that happened yesterday. I saw that at least twice.
Into the end zone. Yeah, I'm just
week,
saying. I'm telling you, all these things had to happen for Clemson to win.
Gotcha.
All these things. Okay, now let's go through some stats. If I told you that Ohio State held Etienne to 36 total yards rushing and Trevor Lawrence to 250 yards passing, who wins that game?
I don't know.
Ohio State.
The rushing, no question.
Give me a break. It's Ohio State. He had 36 yards rushing. And Trevor
the rushing,
Lawrence
of course. That's terrible.
18 of 33. 18 of 33. He did not have a good game, and people are loving it.
I didn't say he did.
He's garbage.
I didn't say he did. But you know who else didn't have a good game? Ohio State's offense. You can't kick field goals. You can't kick field goals and win the game.
Red zone defense on Clemson. Credit all to them. 16-0. 16-0. It should have been 28-0.
Right. So don't give me 2 statistics and then say how this team not better.
Okay. Well, let's look up the defense. Let's see how Clemson's defense did. They gave up 200 yards rushing, 174 to Dobbins alone. Okay. They gave up 320 yards passing. KJ Hill had 67 receiving. Austin Mack had 54. Tons of amazing catches. Ohio State's the better team, Tim. They're the better team, and they're not.
How many yards did Dobbins have in the second half? How many yards did Dobbins have in the second half?
Let me look it up. Well, he was injured.
Exactly. Okay, so he had a great first half, and they couldn't score touchdowns.
That's another thing. They also needed J.K. Dobbins to get injured because they couldn't catch J.K. Dobbins without him getting injured.
Well, don't get injured. That's not. Don't
get injured.
They
twisted him up.
Really? Did you really just say that?
I don't know. Yes, I did, but they did. His ankle twisted up. They didn't do it on purpose. Okay, but it happened.
It did happen. So he's injury prone now. No, I'm just joking. But here's the thing, though. Seriously, is most of his stats from the first half. Not his fault. He got hurt. It happens. So throw the numbers out you want. But the reality is Clemson should have been down 28-0, and they weren't. Mostly because Ohio State did all this. They had a great game plan, exactly what you talked about all season long.
He was outcoached.
Absolutely. Everything you talked about all season long, where they wait and see what the other team is going to respond to, and then they make adjustments. Yep. I kept waiting. When are they going to make it? When are they going to make it? When are they going to make it? You know who made the adjustments? Brett Venables.
Yeah. I mean, he made adjustments, but Ohio State's defense was shut down, and Ohio State's offense looked really good. I mean, they looked really good
in the first half.
They are the better team. If Ohio State plays Clemson 20 times, Ohio State wins 15-16 of them.
I don't agree with that. I really don't. 100%. I really don't agree with that.
100%. I mean, Ohio State's a better team. Nobody in the world, unless you're a stupid Clemson fan, well, not stupid Clemson fan, unless you're Tim Jones or a Clemson fan, unless you are rooting for Clemson, everyone in the world would look at that game and say that Ohio State's the better team.
In that moment, yes, it doesn't mean you have the same results 20 games in a row or the same – or, it doesn't mean Ohio State will win 15 of those games. It means Ohio State had the better first half by far. The second half, Clemson made the adjustments. They were the better team in the second half.
False. Let me find second half stats.
Please do. because Clemson was a better team in the second half. Brett Venables' defense shut down Ohio State for the majority of the second half. I understand Dobbins was hurt, and that hurt them significantly. But if you look at that game, I kept waiting to see, all right, Ryan Day, your offensive genius, what do you have? He did all these great plays. He did hurry up when Clemson wasn't ready for it. All this stuff in the first half. The second half, he had nothing. He was too busy yelling and screaming at the refs to make the adjustments.
Did you see I put that on Instagram.
I did, and you were exactly right. He didn't. He didn't. He got too distracted. They got in his head, and they couldn't do anything in the second half.
Well, they still had a chance to win it. Even despite all of this, with a minute and 50 seconds, we drove down the field like it was nothing. J.K. Dobbins was there again for that drop down, and with that, it was a second down play, and J.K. Dobbins was there. I thought, man, we're going to pull this thing out, and all of this is going to mean nothing. Thought for sure. But that miscommunication, Olave, he broke off his route. That's a touchdown. That's a touchdown. If Olave, that's the same guy Olave beat earlier.
And that was the most Georgia thing Justin Fields has ever done.
Oh, it makes me sick because Ohio State was better. And they left probably 6 touchdowns on the field that night, where they just needed one. They just needed one of those to work. Even that J.K. Dobbins dive into the end zone, if that's just 1 inch back, it's a touchdown. It was just out there too far by 1 inch. You know, I saw a lot of Ohio State fans just showing the picture of J.K. Dobbins crossing the end zone where it looks like a touchdown. If that's a run play, that is a touchdown.
Right.
It's a pass, so it can't be.
You're right.
So
here's my thing. How did Ohio State let Trevor Lawrence run all over them the way they did and not make an adjustment there?
Yeah, that's where they're I honestly, I think they were going to say, like, I was saying, okay, we'll let him have his run plays. Like, I'm not worried about it until he broke off that huge one.
For a while, yeah, but he did it over and over, and it just seemed like for a while he just kept doing it.
I didn't, and that's what's such crap is the fact that and I'm going to go back to this targeting penalty because that's another thing. Trevor Lawrence was not defenseless. He was ready. Like, he protected himself, for crying out loud. Targeting is against a defenseless player, and he was not defenseless. Like, and he was running out, like you said, running over him all night long. He wasn't defenseless. He was like that. That's not targeting, and it completely changed the game. It's like I said, it's 4th and 15 with 4 minutes left. We're getting the ball back right before halftime. We're going into halftime 16-0. Like, if not more, if not 19 to whatever. Oh, I'm sick. I'm so tired of thinking about this. I can't wait till the season's over and I can get off Facebook and get off Instagram because I'm just done. I'm just ready for next year. I'm just done. I'm so frustrated.
Well, I need to look up more like specific requirements targeting like you described because I don't have enough information in front of me to have a conversation about it. I really don't. But from what I've seen for the last several years, I didn't like this rule from the beginning. I understand you want to protect players, but I also don't like one person makes one mistake and they're out. That's it. You're done for the game. I don't like that at all. Yeah,
it's changing. But did you know the NCAA can only make rule changes on even years? They can make rule adjustments whenever, but they can only change rules on even years.
Is that for real?
So, yeah, they had these rules, this targeting rule planned since the beginning of this season, but it can't go into place until 2020.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they can only make rule changes. Yeah, I'm telling you, Tim, I've done my research in preparation for this episode because I didn't understand it like this. Like, I'm just in shock. It's like I've never felt this way about a game before where I knew the team was better and we still lost. Like I told you after the game, when it's 31-0, we're not the better team. Like, we deserve to lose, and that's fine. I can take those losses. When Iowa smokes you, like, I can take that. That's fine. I've never felt this way about a loss before because I felt like it was stolen from us, and we were the better team. Like, I feel so terrible for these players, these seniors who put everything they had into this, the juniors who are leaving. You got Okuda, Dobbins, maybe Wade. He's going to announce on Saturday whether or not he's leaving. The guy who was kicked out for that baloney targeting penalty. And then Chase Young hasn't announced, but that dude's gone. There's no way he's coming back. So,
yeah. Well, Just to be clear, I want to clarify this. I did just look up the rules. The 4 things you mentioned are including but not limited to. It doesn't some indicators. It does not mean that all 4 of those things have to be included, according to this. I'm looking at right now, the NCAA rule. Launching a player, leaving his feet, crouch, falling upward and forward thrust, leading with the helmet, lowering the head. Those are not requirements. Those are some of the indicators. There's more to it than that. Defensive player can be a bunch of different things. In the act of throwing a pass, receiver, kicker, kick returner, player on the ground, player obviously out of the player receives a blind light block, ball carrier already in the grasp of an opponent. And I think that's where they're getting a ball carrier already in the grasp of an opponent.
No, he was the first initial one to make contact.
Okay.
And then it was Chase Young who came.
Yeah, I remember exactly.
He wasn't passing. I mean, it was Bull. It was Bull. You're not going to convince me otherwise. It was.
Well, of course, I'm not. You've already made your mind regardlars. There's nothing I'm going to say that's going to make you your mind. I'm just saying your argument is not legitimate though, because targeting does not mean all 4 of the things have to be in place. According to what I read. I didn't read it. I heard it on the. Some indicators of targeting include, but are not limited to.
I heard this from James Laurinaitis.
Well, he's wrong because I'm reading it right now. Some indicators are. It does not say it has to be all 4 of those things. I'm telling you right now, James Laurinaitis. He's a very smart man. He's been hit ahead too many times. He's wrong.
We'll have to see. Listeners, let us know. So anyway, moving past it, looking towards next year, our entire offensive line's back. KJ Hill is the wide receiver who's gone. All our other wide receivers are back. Justin Fields is back. We lose J.K. Dobbins, but I think we're going to replace – a lot of people are leaning towards Master Teague, but I was not impressed in the Fiesta Bowl with Master Teague. When talent equates, Master Teague doesn't have it. When, he had almost 800 rushing yards. He was third team Big Ten this year as a backup at Ohio State.
Yeah.
But
a lot of garbage time too. I mean,
yeah, exactly. When talent equates, he doesn't have the swiftness. He doesn't have the vision that it takes to win the big games. And so Crowley, Marcus Crowley, I think is his name. He's really good. He was actually a 3-star steal from what a lot of Ohio State players are saying. He is going to compete for that. We also have some really good freshmen coming in who are going to compete for that. So I think, we're reloading, and I think we'll be just fine at running back. No one will really be able to place J.K. Dobbins because he's maybe the best running back to ever play for Ohio State, and that includes people like Eddie George, Archie Griffin, and Zeke Elliott. He's just the best I've ever seen, I think.
Statistically, absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And I think the difference between last year and this year that I saw from him is his ability to not be chased down. Unlike this game where he did get chased down.
Yeah.
It didn't happen a lot this year, but last year, I remember that was one of the big complaints last year was he's not fast enough to get away from players. He would get caught.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but this, the big concern for Ohio State coming in is defense. I think we lose. Now, Zach Harrison's the next big thing at defensive end. He's the next Chase Young. So he'll be there. And Jonathan Cooper is going to be he was able to get a medical red shirt this year. And so he was going to play opposite Chase Young this year, but he got injured. So I think we'll be just fine on defensive end. Our defensive tackles, we've recruited at a high level, so we'll be just fine at defensive tackle. Baron Browning announced today that he's coming back next year. We do lose Tuff Borland and Malik Harrison at linebacker, but we'll be fine. DBs is where I'm worried, but the rumor is that Kerry Combs is on his way back, that it's just waiting out the Titans season, and then Kerry Combs will announce that he's coming back to Ohio State. So big news there. Kerry Combs, he coached the likes of Ward, Eli Apple, not Malcolm Jenkins, Marshawn Lattimore. A lot of big guys taken really early in the draft were coached by Kerry Combs. So we're in good shape as far as our defensive backs coach, and he has NFL experience now. So he's going to be able to bring something else to the table. So really, really excited. Ohio State is going to be back in the playoffs next year. I have no doubt right now. And every team that has in the last 4 years, every team that has faced a devastating loss like this has come back the next year and won the championship. Look at you had Clemson and Alabama go back and forth championship flipping the last 3 years. And then, Ohio State, who lost. Who did we lose to? We had a killer. It was Ohio State who beat Alabama, and Alabama came and won the championship the next year. So teams with devastating losses like this typically make the turnaround, and they play with an extra fire the following season, run through their schedule. We do have 2 really tough games next year, back-to-back. We're playing away at Penn State and away at – it goes Iowa, Penn State, and then someone else right after that. Really, really tough 3-game stretch, but we'll be just fine. We're going to blow through our schedule and be just fine next year, and we'll be back in the playoffs.
All right, we'll see. Florida has an easy schedule next year. They play LSU. Other than that, their schedule, according to this season, is going to be pretty soft.
Yeah.
I think they play Mississippi State and LSU are their toughest games. But it's LSU minus Joe Burrow. I'm curious to see what they have. And their offensive coordinator, he's very sought after right now, NFL-wise especially. The season that he had his first year there. So we'll see.
Yeah, my biggest fear for Ohio State going into next year is that I think Urban Meyer is going to go pro. I think he's going to take one of these professional openings. Looks like Cleveland Browns are hunting him down right now. And so my fear is that he's going to take a lot of the staff that he left behind at Ohio State, your Mickey Marattis, your Pantoni, the media people. But in all honesty, those people may not fit well in the NFL. I mean, there's no need for like a media person to do recruiting at the next level. There's no need for, the strength and conditioning, maybe, if that's what Maratti wants to do. He's always worked at college, at the college level. So if he wants to go pro, he may go with Urban if he goes somewhere else. But so that's my fear. It's been my fear this whole time, this whole season, knowing that those key staffers could be gone.
Sure.
Quarterback's coach left, and they promoted. His last name is Dennis. He's actually Urban Meyer's son-in-law to quarterback's coach this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. All right. So, championship game. I'm not going to watch it. I'm boycotting it. But
you're seriously not going to watch it?
Yeah, no, I have no intention of watching it. I'm not going to watch it.
That's sad.
No, it's not sad. I mean, it is sad because it should be Ohio State there.
No, it doesn't matter who's in it. You're a college football fan. It doesn't matter who you care about. Like, it's a fact of, if anything, you should be like, screw Clemson, I'm cheering for LSU.
Oh, I am cheering for LSU, and I want Joe Burrow. I'll check the score afterwards and be like, oh, good. LSU won. I'm not going to watch it.
That's sad.
I'm done. I'm done with college football, Tim. I told you. This season's over for me.
You should – it's more than just one team. Like, I understand you're disappointed because your team lost. It is. It's much more than one team.
Nope.
And it's understandable that you're disappointed that your team lost, but it's bigger than that. And
we didn't just lose. We were robbed.
You did lose. You did lose.
We lost, yeah, but it was robbed. It was like
you're not the first team who's ever said we got robbed. It happens almost every year.
Yeah.
It just happened to be your team this time for the first time maybe ever who got robbed, who got screwed for once. So get used to it. Like, suck it up. Like, that's part of the game. I understand it hurts and you got to get past it, but that's part of this game. Unfortunately, we're passionate fans. We love our teams. We hate to lose. When we lose, it hurts. We don't get over it quickly.
No, that's the thing. I've gotten over the other losses just fine.
Because you got blown out.
This one's different. I'm not watching. I refuse. I every time I'll watch, I'll say I'll just look at it and know that Clemson doesn't deserve to be there. They're not the second best team in the country. They're not. Stop
blaming the referees. Stop blaming the referees.
I'm not blaming the referees. I am blaming the referees.
You are blaming the referees.
I'm blaming the referees to an extent, but
if it's 28-0, it doesn't matter if the referees overturn a fumble recovery for a touchdown. It doesn't matter a penalty for targeting. None of those things matter if Ohio State does their job. I'm saying it's a neutral observer. Obviously, I cheer for Clemson. Like, I do.
You're not a neutral observer.
I am, because I didn't have anything in this fight. Like, I do like Clemson because I live there and I cheer for them and I've been to games. However, I'm also looking at this as like what I would hope that somebody would say to me if I were in your position of, you can be mad, you can say the referees blew these calls, but at the end of the day, it should have been worst case, 28-14 at the half?
Yeah.
It shouldn't even have mattered. Ohio State did not do their job in the first half, and they got outcoached in the second half, period. Like it or not, that's the reality. So, yes, be mad at the refs. take some time to get over this. Don't nice stages if you need to, but understand this is bigger than just the referees blowing the call and blowing this game, because they should never have been able to influence the results of this game.
You're right. And I like what you're saying, but I can't watch it. I understand. And I liked your passion just then. That was really good. But yeah, I can't watch it because it's too hard. It's like watching your ex-girlfriend walk around with another guy. It's just.
I get it. No, I mean I understand.
It's hard to watch.
And I'm watching this game as someone who, like I said, I lived in Clemson. Like I watched them develop into the team that they are now. I watched them as they're building these new facilities that they didn't have before. I lived there when they had the Clemsoning slogan going of like they just couldn't get over the hump. They would get close and they would lose, kind of like Oklahoma does now. So Oklahomaing. And I watched them develop, and that hurts as a Gator fan. Like, why can't we be there? Why can't we be doing that? And I think we're getting closer now. We made some really bad coaching hires, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, I'm watching this game too as a fan of the Gators who played LSU this year, and the exact play. I've never brought this up before. The exact play where Trask was an interception in the end zone. There was a blatant defensive holding. You can see it. I could have posted it. It's like over and over and over, like 2 blatant defensive holdings in the same play where we throw the pick, and that cost us the game in the end zone. That would tie the game.
Are garbage. And there's no accountability for these bums. They
are bad. I texted you at the very beginning of this game. They're terrible.
I know. You said
SEC crew. That sucks.
Yeah, you said
lose.
And we both said somebody's going to get screwed this game.
Yeah.
We said it before the game even started.
It's happened all season. I haven't heard nothing good about the SEC officials this entire season.
Yeah.
The best conference in college football, and they have terrible officiating.
Yeah, but honestly, it's been across the board. I think the Big Ten called the Rose Bowl game, and there's just really bad. I mean, the officiating replay, it's broken in college football. Joel Klatt, he made that statement on Twitter. Just the officiating and replay in college football is broken.
Well, and whoever did the Michigan-Alabama game, they should be embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what conference that was, but it was bad.
Yeah,
like that just can't happen.
Yeah, a lot of bad, just so bad.
You're right. But SEC is especially this year has been terrible.
Yeah,
just across the board.
So, all right. So looking forward to next season. Both of our teams are done for the season. A lot of stuff is going to be going on in the off-season. Coaching changes. Hopefully, all of our players can stay out of trouble. Hopefully, there's no drama leading into the season, and it's only 8 short months away. That's not long.
No.
We don't have long to wait. 8 months. I mean,
it'll be before we know it.
Yeah, and I can't wait. We may do something during the off season. I don't know what yet. We didn't have a lot of listeners during our last off season show, so maybe we'll do something different. But looking forward to a fun off season of just seeing what this team is all about. How you're going to bounce back from this loss, Ohio State and Ryan Day. Is this going to define your careers and send you down, or is this something you're going to be able to use as motivation to bounce back from? What do you think? Crystal ball this for me, Tim. Are they going to bounce back, or is this going to wreck Ryan Day's career and he's not going to?
No, I think they're still the peak of the Big Ten. Who's going to compete with them?
I mean, Penn State.
Penn State's it maybe. Jim Harbaugh, I'll be shocked if he's there next year. Like he's
I think I saw a thing where Rutgers in the last 10 years have more bowl wins than Michigan.
Jeez. That's bad. You get embarrassed by Florida last year. You get handled by Alabama, regardless of the officiating yesterday in Orlando. Like I could have gone to that game and I was like, nah, I don't care. It's bad. Mm-hmm. Wisconsin maybe, but they just lost their best player.
Oh, that's the other one. We're at Wisconsin on the road. After Penn State or Wisconsin before Penn State. It's like back-to-back Wisconsin, Penn State.
Okay.
And that's like week 4 or 5. It's going to be a really tough 3-game stretch, but then it gets pretty easy after that. You have like your Indianas and Rutgers. Michigan, right. Yeah. Hopefully they get somebody better than Shea Patterson. I think Shea Patterson has been their undoing.
Isn't that on Harbaugh, this quarterback guru? Supposedly?
Yeah.
You brought this guy in to be his guy, and he has not been good enough.
No. What else? Any other big games stand out? Wisconsin lost by 1.
Yeah, it was a good game. The Oregon-Wisconsin game was a good game.
Yeah, we have Oregon. Ohio State plays Oregon week 2 next year. That'll be fun.
That should be fun.
Yeah,
I don't know who the quarterback's going to be next year, but we'll see.
I think they reloaded quarterback pretty well.
I see them taking a step down, honestly. Yeah, just because I know they're losing some players this year. Their coach, I mean, is legit. Like, he's a good coach.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
But I think that they'll take a small step back next year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll just be an interesting game, though. Where are they playing? Do you know?
I think they're at Oregon. It's a home and home.
Okay.
So, yeah. But, in all honesty, with Oregon beating Wisconsin, that may play better for Ohio State than them losing, because that'll make them ranked higher going into next season, which will help Ohio State if they win. They're at Oregon. They're in Eugene.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yep. So we start the season with Bowling Green, and then Oregon, Buffalo, Rutgers, Iowa, and then not Wisconsin. It goes Michigan State, Penn State, Nebraska. Is Nebraska going to take a leap forward?
No.
No,
not yet.
Nebraska
Frost is not ready.
And then you got Indiana, Maryland, Illinois, and then you end with Michigan. So it's going to be it's a tough 3-game stretch there, depending on how good Michigan State is. I think Michigan State, their time in the sun is over.
Yeah, they were so bad this year.
Yeah.
Well, in case you're wondering, the Gators schedule for next year.
Yes, of course.
Not that impressive. So we have Eastern Washington, Kentucky, South Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, LSU, Ole Miss, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Missouri, New Mexico State, Florida State. So LSU, and then I don't know what Ole Miss is going to be next year. I have no idea. Yeah. And then Georgia. Those are really the games they have to worry about. Possibly South Carolina has brought in some pretty decent players, so I'm curious to see how they are next year. And I think Florida State is going to improve a little bit, but they're still not going to be overall competitive. So it's a pretty weak schedule next year. But Florida is starting – I mean, they have home and homes with Texas, Utah, some other teams that, in the future, but not in the next couple of years.
They're SEC. They'll still be ranked in the top 10 regardless of who they play.
Well, based on how they ended their season, yes, they will. And they should. They should. Yeah. They're the number 2 quarterback in the conference.
You want to do your top 4 going into next year?
Oh, man. Right now?
It's a tough one.
It's really hard right now. It's because, you look at, LSU's losing their best player.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, this is tough. If I had to look right now, just on a whim, unplanned, a top 4 for next year. That's what I'm doing right now. I think you have to put Clemson in there because it's Clemson.
I have Clemson at number 1.
I don't know. This is not any specific order, but I think Ohio State will be top 4 next year, if no other reason, because I don't think their conference is competitive enough. I'm gonna put. Well, it depends. Here's my question for you.
Okay.
Does Tua go back to college or go pro?
Pro.
He goes pro?
Yeah, he doesn't want to risk injury again before getting his check.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to say Florida is going to be top 4 next year. I really believe that. I'm not just saying that as a Gator fan. Okay. I think they've gotten better every year. They've improved every single season. I think they're ready to make the next step. I think they have a legitimate chance. They're going to beat Georgia next year. They should have been Georgia this year. Georgia wasn't even that good. They should have been Georgia this year. They're in the conference championship. I think they're a top 4 team next year. The 4th team is tough.
Is Fromm gone?
I think so. I think he's probably going. Yeah, I think he's going.
Okay.
Which is not a bad thing for Georgia. I actually think that helps Georgia.
Really?
Yeah.
Their backup.
I don't even know. Does it matter? I mean, truthfully.
Should be Justin Fields, but they blew that one.
True. I'm putting Oklahoma in my top 4 again, just freaking for no other reason than their conference is not competitive at all.
Leaving Bama out?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They'll be 5 or 6 probably, but just because Oklahoma does this every year. The only chance I think that they wouldn't be is a conference. The committee is going to be like, look, Every year we put you in there. Every year you get blown out.
Yeah,
You're
that's
done.
what happened. Ohio State in 2016.
Yes, it's exactly what happened to Ohio State 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Well, first year it wasn't. It was Michigan
fair,
State.
but
yeah,
yeah,
it was Michigan State, then Ohio State.
Yeah.
And then we didn't get back in the playoffs until 19.
Yeah.
So it means a lot when you get blown out, when your conference gets blown out.
It definitely does. It doesn't look good, and they hesitate to put you back in.
Yeah.
I think the only reason they did it is because the quarterback, the Heisman situations. I think they felt like they need to give him a shot again. And this year they didn't really have a choice. Honestly, they had to. But I don't think next year, if they have any options, they will not get Oklahoma in. But as of right now, that's where my top 4. What about you?
I saw a thing where Oklahoma's going into the transfer portal, trying to find their next quarterback again.
Of course they are.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah. So I have Clemson, Ohio State 1 and 2, and then I have LSU only because I think LSU is going to dominate in the championship, and so they're going to put LSU in there, even though they're losing Burrow. They'll probably lose their offensive coordinator. A lot of different things are going to be moving around from LSU. And then I have Bama at 4 because they're Bama. So nothing too crazy. So here's a question. And you may know the answer to this, and it's how is Clemson able to keep their assistant coaches for so long? How does Venable not head coaching somewhere?
I think that they are losing one of their co-offensive coordinators this year. Because they have 2 of them. I think they're losing one of them. But yeah, that's a good question. I think it's a lot of they lost their offensive coordinator, Chad Morris, several years ago.
Yeah.
Venables is the only one who is. The 2 offensive coordinators have been there for a long time, but they worked their way up.
Yeah.
Venables is the only one who has been there this whole time and stayed. And honestly, I think he realizes limitations. Like I think he just really likes coaching defense.
Yeah.
And so that's why, and he keeps getting. He's the highest paid. If I'm not mistaken, at least at the time, he was the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country.
Yeah.
And I just think I don't think he thinks he's that good of a head coach. He doesn't want to be head coach. I think he just is one of those guys. He likes that role. Yeah. And he likes the situation, so he wants to stay there, which is great for Clemson. So I think that's why the offensive coordinators they actually have made a couple changes there.
Okay.
So that's the one area where it has changed a little bit off and on. So. But yeah, consistently overall, their staff has been able to stay, but I think that's why.
Yeah. Well, Ohio State loses 2 coaches so far this year. Their quarterbacks coach and Halfley. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tony Alford take another job, the running backs coach. But I think everyone else is sticking around.
Yeah, what happened to the quarterbacks coach? Was that a mutual parting? What happened?
Yeah,
there?
I think so. I think he took the offensive coordinator job at Texas.
Right, which is, I think we can both agree it's a step down. Is that because Ohio State said
you think quarterbacks coach to offensive coordinator at Texas is a step down?
Oh, no. I'm saying in general, didn't Ohio State say were they going to kind of not keep him anyway, or is that just a completely opportunity for him to improve?
Yeah, I think he was offered the job as offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he'd take that.
Because I'd heard some rumblings, I guess, before he got the job that Ohio State wasn't incredibly thrilled with the overall development throughout the season. Not that he played bad. Don't get me wrong. Fields played great. Yeah. Just his development as a player wasn't good enough for what Ohio State wanted throughout the season.
Well, I like that. I hope that's kind of true. Just to have high expectations, I think. But yeah, so all right. I think this puts a pin in our episode before our what's it called? I don't remember the episode before our last episode. I don't know. It starts with a P. Somebody who's listening right now is shouting the word at their radio. Whatever. I'm done talking about it. I'm done saying pre into the microphone. All right. So Ohio State and Florida seasons are over. We'll be back here the week of hopefully the day after the championship game to talk more about the championship. Tim's going to tell you all about it, and I'll just say my general feelings from looking at the score because I'm not watching it.
Well, hopefully we have some signing day updates or expectations too.
Yeah.
For our team moving forward.
Yeah, Ohio State. I think we got everyone that I think we're waiting on one more person, and I think looks like we're reached out to a 5-star running back from Miami who's in the portal right now. So we'll see. Maybe we'll bring in a guy from the portal running back this year, and we'll have 2 portal guys.
Supposedly he's another guy who's a Florida or Ohio State interest right now, so it could be interesting.
That could be interesting. Should be fun. I bet he goes Ohio State because J.K. Dobbins.
Except apparently his cousin is seriously looking at Florida, so that's one of the what they're looking at right now.
If you're listening right now, you don't want to go where your family is. Get away from family.
Their cousin, they live like a few miles from each other right now.
Yeah, but you're sick of him. You're sick of him by now. Get away. Anyway, all right.
It's a Columbus High School, right? No, seriously, isn't it Columbus High School in Miami? Oh, the Miami transfer you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, no. We're talking about two different people.
Oh, okay. All right. No. It's a Miami University transfer guy who's in the portal, 5-star.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So anything else you want to add, Tim? Final thoughts. Hit me with them. On the spot. I bet you haven't even planned.
I'll have much more to talk about after the championship game, and I don't really have a preference in the championship game over who I want to win. I think it's going to be a fun game. I'm sad that you're going to miss it, but I'm definitely going to watch it just to see what happens. And I think it's going to be one of the more entertaining championship games we've had in a while. I think the Clemson Alabama game was super exciting, very interesting to watch a couple of years ago. The last few years when they play each other has been really interesting. But you have two high-powered offenses. I'm curious to see how they make adjustments from their semifinal games to move forward to this game. I would be shocked if it's a blowout game. I expect it to be closer than that.
Yeah. I hope it's a blowout game. I hope LSU just completely demolishes them. But I don't care. Either way, it could end in a tie. It could end with whatever. I just don't care. So my final thoughts are obviously going to be Ohio State and Clemson. It's more about how we bounce back. Buckeyes, just don't let this deflate you. Don't let this define you, Buckeyes. Go into this next season with a chip on your shoulder, bigger than the chip you had this year being left out of the playoffs. Have a chip on your shoulder because you are the best. You were the best team in America this year. Without a doubt. I have no doubt about it. Best team in America, and you fell short to a Clemson team that took advantage of your disadvantage. So just have a great offseason. Don't get into trouble. Make good choices. Be smart about what you do and how you approach your offseason. And I can't wait to watch you again next year. Really proud of this Buckeye team and everything that they were able to accomplish this year. Feel like there's still things that were left out there, but you guys did a great job, and good luck to Okudah, Chase Young, and everyone who's entering the NFL draft from Ohio State. Good luck to all of you. Perform really, really well at the Combine and do your thing in the pros. Good luck, fellas. Tim, it's been a pleasure. We'll talk to you next week on probably a shortened episode to close out the season. But, yeah, so – it's been an absolute pleasure. He's Tim Jones. I'm Aaron Shipe. Thanks so much for being a part of it. We'll catch you next time.
And go Gators.